Welcome to another session in this Python series. We are going to be looking at conditional statements in Python. Conditional statement is one of the cardinal concepts in programming. And in Python, it is so important that it is almost impossible for you to do any advanced task without, in one way or the other, involve a conditional statement. The basics is that it is used to give a particular condition, and if such condition is true, the code or the block of code after it will be executed, and if it is not, it will not be executed. So, for example, this is a condition here. If we want this condition to, like, if this condition is true, then the code here is going to be executed. However, if this condition is not true, it will not be executed. There are several ways through which we can execute our conditional statement. And one of them is the if statement. Then we have the if else statements and so on. But don't worry, as we continue, we will be unveiling them one after the other. Now, we can use if statements alone. For example, this is A and then this is X. Let's run it. So let's say that if A equal X, so when you write your condition, you have to put a colon in front of it to tell Python that at this point, the condition has ended. And then when you press enter, there is going to be an indentation that is going to tell us that, you see, everything you write inside this indentation is for this particular condition. So let's say if A equal X, then print A is equal to X. It means that if A equals to X, it will print this particular string or statement. Why? Because this is what we have after the statement. However, the question is, if A is not equal to X, that is, if the condition is not satisfied, what should it do? Based on the if statement alone, Python does nothing because we do not specify what it should do if it is not true. So you can see that A is not equal to X because 30.1 is not equal to 30. So Python will not return anything in this condition. You can see nothing comes out. However, if I change this to 30, so when I write this, you can see now that the condition is true and it has printed this. We can do much more. We can say, okay, we want a new variable, which is b. It means that whenever a equals to x, then we have a new variable, which is b, and it is going to be equals to x raised to power 3. So, and then we say print b. So now you can see it has printed our b. So, however, if we come here and we just do 10, it's not going to show anything. Why? Because the condition is not fulfilled and we do not tell Python what to do in such condition. And that takes us to the if-else statement. This is the if-else statement. It's just a step further from the if statement, in that if the condition is not true for the if condition, then do this in such a condition. For example, let's use an example, and we say that if a equals x, then b is equals to x raised to power 2, and print b. But however, if this condition is not true, what should you do? So we say s. When we do this s, you can see that I have to come out of this indentation to put our s. And we don't write any condition in front of s. Why? Because s means that as long as everything before you is not true, then execute your statement. So else statement will only be executed when all the conditions before it is not true. And then I can say, okay, else our b will be equals to x raised to power 3. So which means if x equals to a, then our b will be x raised to power 2. However, if it is not, our x will be raised to power 3. And then print that b. So at this point, if we run this, because at this point a is not equals to x, this second condition is going to be executed. And let's see what we have. You can see this is what is executed. So that is how the if else statement works, and we are going to be seeing this as we are performing some task in this particular session. Then we move a step further to what is called the if elif else statement. This means that in a true world scenario, we are going to be having more than two conditions for some events. What should we do? We have to be able to specify more than two conditions in order for us to get our task done effectively. And that is where the elif statement comes in. So when we have the if statement, and then we have our else statement, but we want some conditions in between, that is where the elif comes in. So condition 1 is this, then condition 2 elif. So you can put as many elif statements as possible. The only thing is that when you finish, use else statement to wrap it up. And if you don't use else statement, it will still run. Good. But else statement is so important because else statement basically means that even if you have 1 million conditions before else statement, Python will be able to look at all of those conditions, and if none of those conditions is fulfilled, the else statement will be run. Good. Let's do a particular task. So we want to ask a user to guess our magic number. So let's say our magic number is 30, and we want a user to guess it randomly. And then we want to check if our user input is correct or not. But we want to give our user an idea if their guess was higher or if their guess was lower than the magic number, so that if they want to make the next attempt, they can be guided. Now, we have chosen our magic number to be 30. So how do we start? You remember the input function? If you do not remember the input function or you don't know how it works, just go to the description section below this video and you will see our video that explains how the input function and some of the other functions that I will be applying here actually works. they were explained effectively there. Good. So now we say user number is equals to inputs. So our inputs, and then we ask the user, what is your, or let's say, write your guess. And the user write their guess, but we know that anything that the input function returns is going to be in a string. So, and what we want is a number, that is an integer. So we are going to do an explicit typecasting. So by specifying what you want. So int. So convert anything the user put, as long as it's a number, convert it to integer. So, and then we come here and say, if user number equal 30, that is, if the user number that the user gives is the same thing as our magic number, that is 30. So this will be magic number equals magic number, because this is better, because if you want to change our magic number, we just come here and change it. Or else, if you use 30, we have to be changing 30 throughout the code, which is not effective. So equals magic number. So then what is our response? So tell the user, that is print, correct. So let's do you can use f string, but let's just write straightforward. Correct. Your guess match. Then what of if the user gives a number that is lesser than our magic number? So we use elif. Elif user number less than magic number. What should we tell them? You say print, sorry, your guess is lower than the match. Now, that is all. Then, what of if the user gives a number that is above, that is a number that is greater than 30, or that is greater than our magic number? So we know that there are three options. It's either it is equals to, lesser than, or greater than. Then since this is the last option, we just put the else statement here, because the else statement will say, okay, is this one true? No. Is this one true? No. Then as long as these two are not true, it is going to execute. And we know that as long as a number is not equal to magic number, is not lesser than magic number, it is obviously greater than the magic number. So we use the else statement and say print, sorry, your guess is higher than the match. Good. So let's run this. So our user says 25. So we expect this to give us this particular output. Sorry, your guess is lower than the match. So you can see, sorry, your guess is lower than the match. So let's change it. Let's run it again. So the guy put 45. So we expect it to give this. Sorry, your guess is higher than the match. Let's see. So let's see what we have. Let's write 45 and then we run it. You can see now it says sorry, your guess is higher than the match. Now let's assume we have a lucky guy. The guy is just very lucky. So that 30 here is the same thing as our magic number. So we expect the first output. Correct. Your guess match. So you can see that this runs well. That is how we can use the elif statement in conditional statements in Python.